Hey, thanks everybody for joining us today. Live Music Nation Podcast Festival Edition. Today we're with Heather Brown. She's with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the Chamber of Commerce. There, or actually not the Chamber of Commerce, just the Visitors Bureau. They're at Lake Ozarks. Are you in Camden?
We are actually in Osage Beach.
Oh, perfect, just across. All right. Thanks for joining us, Heather. Give us a little background on you, where'd you grew up, talk a little bit about your family and your career.
Yeah, so I'm actually a local down here. So we cover three counties, Miller, Morgan, and Camden counties, which encompasses a lot of different towns within those three counties. I grew up in Eldon, Missouri. I graduated from there, went off to college, and then moved back when my kids were about to start school. So my husband and we've been down here since 2012. He's also a native. He graduated from Camdenton. I have three kiddos. They're all in the school system in Camdenton. So I have a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and then a 7-year-old. So I'm very, very busy. I started actually in the tourism world when I was in college. Like most people, I started college, said, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I wanted to be, a journalist, and then quickly went into some job shadowing and didn't like some of the job shadows I did. And so I switched my major to public relations and marketing and job shadowed with a PR firm that actually had a lot of tourist clients. So from all over, even in other states. And so my love for tourism started actually in college. I interned with them for a couple years, kind of got my foot in the door with tourism. And then when an opportunity came to apply for a job at the Lake of the Ozarks Convention and Visitor Bureau, I quickly applied, and then the rest is history. I started at the bottom, worked my way up. So now I'm executive director. I've been in this position for almost 3 years and just love it. So
So let's go back and hit on something that you said. So you job shadowed a couple of times and found out you didn't like where your career was headed.
that's right.
Um, we talk about job shadowing sometimes, but we never get to hear the success. And the success out of job shadowing for you was a completely change. Um, like how important is that? Do you think you advise that for everybody?
I do. I actually go around to a lot of the local high schools and I do mock interviews with them just to help them get prepared because not everybody goes to college. Some go straight into the workforce. And then there's some that are just, you know, crazy ambitious and say I'm going to be an entrepreneur right out of high school, which I love. However, there's challenges to that, and so I still have to mock interview them and explain to them that you still have to be able to conversate with your clients, and so this is good practice, even though you may not interview per se for jobs, and you just don't know where life's going to take you. And in those interviews, I always tell them when I ask them, "Hey, what are you going to do? What kind of career do you want?" My first thing is go job shadow. Know right off the bat, know the ins, know the outs. If they have opportunities to work there, go ahead and start working there, even if it's at a low level. That way you just learn the industry. And so I think it's absolutely beneficial. Like I said, I wouldn't have known. I did, honestly, at a young age, I didn't know tourism was honestly like I knew tourism existed, but I didn't know there were organizations that's all that they did. And so I even growing up here, I didn't know about the Convention and Visitor Bureau because as a local, they don't promote to me necessarily. They promote to visitors to bring them in. So it was instrumental, and that's one of the top things. I have kids in high school now, and I try to tell them all the time. They're like, I don't know what I want to do, and I'm like, go explore, go job shadow. Let's talk about opportunities and do it in high school. That way, when you go to college, you have a better idea. So I don't think it's too early at all.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Thanks for letting me divert a little bit about it. It is important for people to hear that. Okay, let's jump into some of the events that you guys produce throughout the fall. I'm going to let you highlight a couple of them.
Absolutely. So fall is a very busy time for us down here at Lake of the Ozarks. In season is extremely busy as well. I mean, just the sun, the water, the boating. But fall boating is absolutely beautiful down here at Lake of the Ozarks. In addition to, you can't beat fall golf down at Lake of the Ozarks. We have a lot of courses down here in our three counties, and so we get a lot of golfers in the fall time, as well as all the fall festivals. So in just about every community, we have an amazing fall festival, from Osage Beach having their fall festival, and it's called the Osage Beach Fall Festival. We have the Turkey Festival in Eldon. We have the Apple Festival in Versailles, and then we have this thing called Pumpkin Chunkin Palooza Festival, which is a fall festival in Camdenton. And so a lot of our communities have these just hometown small fall festivals. And when I say small, they're really not that fall. They get 20 to 30,000 people at these events. So they're huge. People come from all over to partake. Some are just 1 day, some are 2 days, but they're great. They draw people from all over. We also have one of the largest biker rallies in the Midwest right here at Lake of the Ozarks. So that is September 13th, and it goes from Wednesday through Sunday. We have a passport program, meaning you visit certain locations, you get a stamp on your passport, you turn your passport in, and you can potentially win a motorcycle. So that's a huge event. It draws almost 100,000 people to our community. So it's huge. This year we're giving away an anniversary edition Harley Davidson. So it's really exciting. And so we promote that event extensively. It's one of our largest events down here at Lake of the Ozarks. And then to kind of wrap up the boating season, as we call it, we have our fall harbor hop. It's always the second Saturday in October. And it's just a great way for people to get that last hurrah on the water, go out, have fun, try to get the best poker hand. And then we give away some great prizes to those winners. So really busy down here for us, believe it or not. So
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So pick one. Just pick one. Give our listeners 3 questions that I ask. What does it look like? What does it smell like, meaning food? And what does it sound like, meaning music, amusement rides, activities? Give our listeners a little taste.
of our community, what it smells like, feels like. Okay, so I would say most people when they go to the ocean, they smell that ocean water and they just kind of have that feel. We kind of have that same perception out here. We have 1,150 miles of shoreline, so you have that great nostalgic feel when you're around the water, and you have that, even though we're not saltwater, we still, I don't know the best way to describe that smell you get off of fresh lakes, and just that outdoorsy. We have the largest state park, so it's just real outdoorsy, that nature feeling everywhere you go. We just have so many trees, and like I said, we have multiple state parks, and so just that real outdoorsy, wholesome, just clean air, I guess is the best way to describe that. And so I don't know if I'm even answering your question, but that's the best way I would describe it. So what else do you want me to, was
No,
it
that's
taste?
perfect. Yeah, yeah. So the smells, we got that. We got that. We
Okay.
got that idea. The sounds.
Okay.
What are people going to hear?
Be prepared. During the day, you're gonna hear boats roaring. You're gonna have live music at almost every establishment you visit. But then at night, that's when it comes alive. You will hear so many crickets. You're gonna hear nature. You're gonna hear, I don't care where you're at, you are gonna hear nature all around you. And so that's what makes us so unique and such a great retreat.
That's perfect. Perfect. Um, Give us some of your highlights. What the impact on your communities, of course, and the impact of the people that attend. You've done a really good job describing that. For you, what is the reward in this for you?
Well, one, it's just a passion of mine. I always tell people our website is funlake.com, and in the tourism world, we sell fun. So, what better job to have than a job that just sells fun? And so, when you absolutely love that, and you know that these people coming to visit your little piece of paradise is putting foods on the table of a lot of people in your community, you get vested in that, and you want that, and you want to do your best because you know their livelihoods depend on you doing a good job at your job. And so when you have that kind of in the back of your head, you're going to strive and just do the best that you can do. You're going to come up with new ways to promote your area. You want to keep it wholesome, though, all at the same time. You want to keep the identity of your community all at the same time. And so, honestly, I just have a passion for it. And I think that you have to have a passion for what you do. And those that have a passion for what they do truly end up doing the best at their job.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, 2 questions, a little bit sidetracked, but not really because you do have live music there. So I'm in live music full time, tour the nation. I'm so enthralled with this question because I get just fantastic answers everywhere when I ask this. So my question to you is this: what's the best concert you've ever been to your entire life?
Okay, so I have they're two totally different ones. One is Cher. I loved her concert. She put on one heck of a show, and just not only her stage presence, but even just all the props she used in her concerts was just over the top amazing. And then another one that I just thought was just phenomenal. I don't know why it just struck me was Judas Priest. It was
Okay.
at a Ozfest up by Chicago, and he just put on one heck of a show, better than Ozzy, who was the headliner. So
Uh-huh.
it was an amazing show. And then more recently, probably Skillet put on one heck of a show recently that I went to, and just the pyrotechnics and just the energy and just the way you could just tell their passion for what they do was just phenomenal.
That's awesome. I heard Chicago was at the amphitheater there here, and
Yes,
I heard
this
that
past
was
weekend.
fantastic
Yep.
outdoors. So that's
Yep,
cool.
they had two big concerts this weekend, and they've got more to come. So
Definitely. Okay, dead or alive, you could bring one musical act to Lake of the Ozarks for your people. Who would you bring?
for Lake of the Ozarks, or for me, because that's a totally different
So,
thing.
so
What I
two.
think,
So two. You gave me three answers last time anyway. So give me two this
I
time.
know I don't follow the rules. So I will be honest with you. My like one of my favorite artists is Patsy Cline. I would love to hear. I
Oh,
mean, her passion and the way she
yeah.
whines, and oh my gosh. So for me personally, but do I think Lake of the Ozarks would love that? I'm not so sure.
Oh, they would.
Um,
They would. But go ahead. Yeah.
I yeah, so I think she's just one. I have a little bit of country in my heart, and so she's absolutely just freaking phenomenal. And then, um, the Steel Drivers were down here many years ago, but Chris Stapleton was not with them during that time. But I would love to see Chris come to Lake
Hmm.
of the Ozarks. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if that would ever happen, but it would be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No, that would be great. That'd be great. Okay, I've been a little selfish this morning. I'm asking all the questions. This is your chance to ask me a question. Heather, what would you ask me?
Well, I'm still, intrigued by what you do. So just tell me a little bit about your background and how you got started with everything that you do.
So, yep. So, was a chiropractor for 15 years, and it's funny that you talked about job shadowing. I thoroughly enjoyed being a chiropractor. I went to one as a youth and decided that's what I wanted to do. I was going to go to medical school, and then really latched on to the natural health. And then about 15 years in, I had a friend, actually a worker, a coworker that submitted a video of mine to The Voice. And so I got an invite, a producer invite to The Voice. And so I did that. And then I don't know, things just started happening. And with the first time I played with a live band, it was over. I was just like, nope, this is what I want to do. And so that became my new career just over time. And I often wonder, had I job shadowed at 16 or 17 with a live band, I don't think I ever would have done anything else, as it goes through there. So that happened. And then when COVID hit, um, I'm not signed with a major label. So we have a little more liberties than an upper level signed artist would have. So we were still able to perform and play in a lot of places, just small towns who didn't have the restrictions that larger cities did. And but we found a lot of bars, venues, and clubs, even some casinos that were making things work. We found a
Mhm.
lot who were not, who were closing their doors, who were beaten, downtrodden. So I said, we got to start sharing this information because these guys are making it work. Everybody can make it work if you have the right attitude and the right skill set. And so that's where the podcast came from. Is in the middle of COVID, we were like, let's share this information and get it out there. And then from that, after COVID lifted, people just want to go. Like they never want to be in that place again. And so they're going to take advantage of the time they have. And so that's really where we're at now, is just helping people discover new places, new events, and things to experience. And that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I love that story. But I do believe too, at the same time, I think everything happens for a reason and our journeys follow the path we're meant to be on. And sometimes I think when you start things a little too young, you don't appreciate what you've got. So,
Oh, for sure.
maybe they're going into that chiropractic side of things gave you a little perspective on your passion a little bit
Well,
more.
and it teaches you how to run a business, and that's
Yep.
a huge part of anything as it goes through there. That's great. Okay, so how do people find out more about all of the events that you guys have going on there, Heather, this fall and this summer?
Yeah, so go to funlake.com. That view is comprehensive. It has every event in the 3 counties, everything I've mentioned, and then some more. Live music, everything in between. We are kind of a mecca down here for live music. It's free. We do have a couple places that do charge because they bring in larger acts, but most of our waterfront restaurants and bars have free live music almost every night of the week when we're in season, which is Memorial Day through Labor Day. So funlake.com is where you need to go.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Heather, for being on us. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle